Let's do problem 31 of chapter 4. This is just like problem 17, except we're going to be looking at how the standard deviation changes when we add or subtract or multiply or divide a number, all the numbers in a series. So it's the same data as 417. So I'm going to go back to 417, and I'm going to copy everything. I will do Shift and down there. I'll get an extra row down there. I'll do Control Copy. And I'm going to go over to, let's go over to 431 now, and I will click there and do Control V, and I've got the table copied. And now instead of an average, it's going to be the standard deviation. Now, how are we going to change all these? Now, since we did this with autofill, we can change we've got this little selector button down there. We can just go down and change it to standard deviation. And it changes the standard deviation. So the standard deviation was 2.12. So that means most scores are within the mean, plus or minus 2. That makes a lot of sense. So let's go over to the next one and do the standard deviation again. And so we added 2 to each number, but look at the standard deviation. It didn't change. That's because the average variation doesn't change. So we can make the answer adding a number, adding a constant to each number doesn't change the, and I'll just call it the standard deviation. That's the APA formula for the standard deviation. All right, let's see if subtracting a number does something. We'll go over here and we will choose the down arrow, choose standard deviation. Oh, nope, exactly the same thing. So subtracting a constant from each number doesn't change the standard deviation. Ooh, I wonder if multiplying a number, if that's going to make it bigger. Well, if you think about it, will this make the deviations from the mean bigger? It might. Let's go to standard deviation. Oh, 4.24. That's twice as much as 2.12. So we can make the conclusion that multiplying a constant with, or multiplying a number by a constant, multiplying each number by a constant increases the standard deviation by a factor of that constant. So if we had multiplied each number by 8, the standard deviation would have been 8 times bigger, 16, 17, something like that. And when we divide, let's change this to standard deviation. It's now half. Dividing, so dividing each number by a constant decreases the standard deviation by a factor of that constant. All right, so that we can see how the averages were changed quite a bit when we added and subtracted numbers to them. The standard deviation doesn't change at all, but the standard deviation does change when we multiply or divide each number by a constant.